Breaking right now, an extraordinary charity race row has developed with Prince Harry accused by the boss of the Sentebale Foundation. Now, this is absolutely fascinating because for so long, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have tried to weaponize the issue of race against others. But now, Sophie Chandauka, a very wonderful woman who Meghan Markle hates, no doubt because she is beautiful and intelligent, is hitting back in the most brilliant way. Let me read her statement in response to Prince Harry. She says, there are people in this world who behave as though they are above the law and mistreat people and then play the victim card and use the very press they disdain to harm people who have the courage to challenge their conduct. Beneath all the victim narrative and fiction that has been syndicated to the press is the story of a woman, me, who dared to blow the whistle about issues of poor governments, weak executive management, abuse of power, bullying, harassment, misogyny, misogynoir, and the cover-up that ensued. Finally, we have a serious and accomplished black woman saying to Prince Harry, I have had enough of your bullshit. And I need to give you a little bit of background because watch this video between Meghan and Sophie Chandauka, and it's actually worth listening to it with the sound as well. So we'll get that in just a moment because let's just watch it from the start because it shows a fallout between these two women. So you can see there, Meghan Markle can't stand this woman. Despite the fact that she claims to boost others, this is a real female founder with an incredible CV who she hates, no doubt, because she didn't want her getting close to Prince Harry. And we saw there that she wasn't even prepared to let her stand next to her husband. I should just say too, and actually, I want to show you a post on X from Salty Duchess who said, looks like we've found the real royal racist. Because I should just say that even though Prince Harry might be dating a mixed race woman, he has a real history when it comes to issues of racism. Harry the Nazi. Prince Harry called a fellow soldier his little P-word friend. Harry told me you don't sound black, claims comic. And so this holier-than-thou approach from the duplicitous Duke, who has actually decided for some time to put his own financial gain ahead of his charity projects, has just come back to bite him. And Father Calvin Robinson, the thing is, he's messed with the wrong woman when it comes to Sophie Chandauka. What do you make of this extraordinary row?
Prince Harry, yes, the same guy who spent years preaching about equality and justice, is now being accused of exactly what he claims to fight against. And guess who's right in the middle of it? Yep, Meghan Markle. Sophie Chandauka, the chair of Sentebale, has come forward with some explosive claims about what's been going on behind the scenes. She's talking about power abuse, bullying, harassment, and even racism, all happening under Prince Harry's watch. Now let that sink in for a second. The guy who calls everyone else out for being problematic is now in the hot seat himself. Hypocrisy much?
Yeah, I'm not convinced it's all Prince Harry. I think a lot of this is Meghan Markle.
Of course.
We've seen various instances where she's very controlling, and that scene you just played, for example, where she wouldn't let Sophia stand next to Prince Harry. We've seen that many times. Whenever he's receiving an award, either Meghan Markle is trying to edge herself in to somehow claim the award, or she's edging other people out. There's a very controlling, Machiavellian kind of attitude going on there that I think has a lot to do with this fallout. I don't know what goes on in the boardroom, but it seems that Meghan Markle clearly had a different view to the previous incumbent.
Well, indeed, because as Harry's grey suit, who does some great work on X, pointed out, the woman that Markle is giving orders to in this video is Dr. Sophie Chandauka. She is the whistleblower exposing Harry's Sentebale charity of allegedly covering up abuse of power, bullying, harassment, and misogyny. Big thank you to this brave woman. And honestly, Father Calvin, when you look at this woman's CV, it's the type of thing only Meghan Markle could only dream of. I mean, she is the executive chair and co-founder of Nandi Life Sciences, a US-based company creation vehicle with a portfolio of companies that have collectively raised over $50 million since October 2023. She supports scientific founders in emerging biotech. She is a corporate finance attorney with a 20-year global executive career. She has held senior corporate roles, and she has received numerous industry awards and been featured across a whole range of publications. Indeed, in 2021, Sophie was honoured by Harry's own grandmother, Her Majesty the late Queen Elizabeth II, and awarded an MBE for extraordinary services to business. So who are we going to trust? That woman or Prince Harry, Thicko, and Meghan Markle, who cannot even properly apply for a patent for a brand? So she has to change the name. I'm sorry, I trust this woman.
It seems, going by her record, that Dr. Sophie is a philanthropist and genuinely out there to make a difference in the world. And it seems from what we've seen so far of the Markles, as I call them, that they are in it for their own ends. It seems that Meghan Markle and Prince Harry want to make a celebrity of themselves through this appearance of philanthropy, and they're all about making money and making more fame and fortune. And so it seems that when they see someone who's a competitor to themselves, they have to bring that person down. I don't think Dr. Sophie would see herself as a competitor. I think she's out there for the good of the interests of the people that she's operating a charity for at any given time. And so there's a very different perspective, different worldview between the two parties here.
Indeed. And you know, Father Calvin, that Prince Harry set the Sentebale charity up in 2006, and he did so to pay tribute to his late mother, Princess Diana. Can I be very honest here? And some people might think this is harsh, but I refuse to hold back. Princess Diana would be ashamed by the conduct of Prince Harry, which is all about putting himself and his own needs over the charity causes that he once claimed to support.
This is huge. Sophie is not some anonymous source hiding behind a tabloid headline. She's the chair of this charity. She's been working on the inside, and she's saying there's a whole lot of shady business happening under Harry's leadership. So the question is, how much of this is Harry's fault? And how much of it is Meghan's influence?
And the fact that he's been hijacked by Meghan Markle over this provides no excuse for it. At the end of the day, he hasn't focused on Sentebale at all. He has allowed this to spiral out of control because all of his focus has been on making money. And I found it fascinating that Graydon Carter, who is the former editor of Vanity Fair, in fact, you know, we just saw that amazing video of Princess Diana in the LBD, the little black dress. That dress, do you remember? She went out in public that night when her then estranged husband, Prince Charles, now King Charles, was admitting on national television that he had cheated on her with now Queen Camilla. And Diana knew that if she went out in that dress, she would steal all of the headlines and be on all of the front pages. Of course, that is what happened. And the man who she met that night was Graydon Carter, the then editor of Vanity Fair. So they were very close. They attended events together, but they spoke personally as well. And Father Calvin, he has in recent days, because he's promoting a book, spoken out about the cover he did with Meghan Markle on Vanity Fair. It was the famous cover with the headline, "Wild About Harry." And he said, Father Calvin, that she was just so withdrawn from all reality. She was just a mad woman who didn't even think she should have to say anything about Prince Harry, only wanted to talk about her non-existent philanthropy. But he then went on, Father Calvin, to say that Diana, who he knew very well, would be so despondent, so disappointed, and would have so much sorrow, great sorrow, about the fact that this woman had come between that very crucial relationship between her two sons, Prince William and Prince Harry.
So it is a great shame. It's not just the siblings, is it? It's father and son as well. We know it was grandmother and grandson as well that Meghan came between. It's horrible to see a family break down in that way, especially when that family is the institution that is the royal family, that's supposed to be the ultimate family on the pedestal, really, of embodiment of what it means to be British. So it's incredibly sad that one self-centered American actress could get in between of all of these people and break them down in that way. But again, it's career, it's ambitions. It's very telling that she was trying to paint a picture of her own philanthropy and obsessing over herself when she was supposed to be having a cover about how wild she was about Prince Harry. I think wild was the appropriate word there, really.
Sentebale have released a statement this afternoon, and again, I think this is scathing of Prince Harry, even though it doesn't name him. It's headlined, "Led by the Mission." And it reads, "It's the incredible teams on the ground, our staff and local partners who bring our mission to life every day, walking alongside the children and young people we serve. While trustees are key for governance and regulation, and patrons, especially founders, are an honour to have, it's the people in the field who are advancing the work no matter what. Our commitment to supporting youth in Southern Africa with better health, stronger livelihoods, and climate resilience remains as strong as ever. The work continues because they deserve nothing less." And I'm sorry, Father Calvin, I think it's time for all charities who have an association with Prince Harry and Meghan Markle to cut loose like Sentebale has done, because Harry and Meghan only care about their bank balance. I'm sorry, again, some people might say that's harsh, but I've reported on this story for so many years. Father Calvin, when they filed the charity accounts for Archewell, do you know how long Prince Harry and Meghan Markle revealed that they spent every week working for Archewell, their charity foundation? 1 hour. 1 hour a week. That's all they believe their charities are worth. And so actually, I believe that having an association with this couple is now toxic for these charities. You are better cutting loose.
Look, we've seen this before. Every time Meghan and Harry get involved in something, people start disappearing. First it was the royal family. Then it was their friends. Now it's their own charity leadership. See the pattern? It's the same old playbook. Get in, take over, push people out, and when things start to fall apart, blame someone else. Sophie Chandauka is standing up and saying, enough is enough. And that's why this scandal is so important. Because finally, someone from the inside is calling them out. Now, tell me this. If Meghan is all about women supporting women, then why does she always seem to have a problem with powerful women who don't bow down to her? Just saying.
I am sorry to agree with you on that. It is a great shame because they could provide a lot by being patrons if they were actively involved. I think that message you just displayed was scathing. It's like, wow, we on the ground, the ones doing the work, the founders and the patrons, if they're undermining our work, we don't need them, pretty much is what they're saying there. And it is true. It's nice to have patrons if they're supporting your cause and working towards the same goals that you are. But if they're not, and it's about themselves, then actually it's better to cut them loose. And that seems to be what Sentebale have done, and it seems to be, yeah, absolutely what the other charities associated with Harry and Meghan should do, really.
The Sun have just released this report about the situation, Father Calvin. Let's have a look.
Boss of Prince Harry's charity has hit out with bombshell allegations of bullying, harassment, misogyny and misogynoir. The Duke of Sussex set up African charity Sentebale in 2006 in memory of his mum, Princess Diana, along with pal Prince Seeiso of Lesotho. In a statement seen by The Times, the pair have now revealed they are siding with the charity's trustees after they unanimously resigned following a row with board chair Sophie Chandauka. Dr. Chandauka, a Zimbabwe-born lawyer, was selected to be chair of the trustees last year, but it is understood the trustees strongly disagreed with the decision and wanted her to step down, which has since seen her sue. The bitter feud appeared to be triggered by the move to transfer the charity's fundraising operation to Africa, which caused several key figures to quit the organization. In an explosive statement given to the Mail, Dr. Chandauka claimed there had been a cover-up at the charity. She alleged there was weak executive management, abuse of power, bullying, harassment, misogyny, and misogynoir. Misogynoir is the term used for describing discrimination against black women.
Now, the thing is, Father Calvin, if this charity is meant to be doing good for people in Africa, surely it should be based in Africa. If Harry really was woke, isn't that actually what he would want?
It probably would be, yeah. That term misogynoir sounds quite woke. You're absolutely right. If they want to help people in Africa, of course, the charity should be based in Africa. I don't see a problem with that. But I'd like to know what was going on. I'd like to be a fly on the walls in those boardroom discussions. It seems like there's a lot going on there that we're not privy to. It seems a deep history of kind of resentment building up on the two sides. It does seem that certain parties may have been using this to build their own public platform, whereas other parties just want to get involved with the job at hand. But I suppose we'll never know what those conversations were.
Well, I don't know. I reckon there's much more to come on this. I mean, Rebecca English, the Daily Mail's royal editor, who actually first travelled to Lesotho with Prince Harry in 2006. So she's followed this story. Her expose on this is headline: Sentebale was Harry's way to prove he was more than a Playboy prince, as I saw when I visited with him. But there were clues things weren't right. This will be a humiliating setback. And within her article, she reveals that Harry was actually more concerned when she was writing her piece about what people were saying about him. He actually came up and tapped her on her shoulder. And she said, sad but not entirely surprising, although he last visited Lesotho in October 2024, it was actually the first time the prince had been there in 6 years. And even his regular fundraising events for the charity, mostly involving polo, had notably slowed down. She's also reported that he had never taken his wife Meghan to visit. Instead, they have focused their efforts since quitting royal duties on high-profile joint tours to Colombia and Nigeria, as well as their lives as professional victims of the royal family. It's interesting, isn't it? Because it just feels like Harry almost got bored of this charity.
This is where it gets really interesting. The same guy who has spent the last few years calling out racism in the royal family is now being called out for failing to address racism in his own charity. You can't make this stuff up. People are now asking the tough questions. Was Harry ever really sincere? Or was this all just a PR strategy? I mean, we know he has a history of questionable behavior, but he's always been given a pass. Not anymore. Now the people he once claimed to fight for are turning against him. That should tell you something. And let's be real. If even Twitter is turning on you, you know you messed up. So what happens next? Well, if this scandal keeps growing, Harry's reputation as a humanitarian is done. The irony? The very people he and Meghan tried to position themselves as champions for are the ones calling them out now.
Yeah, that's very sad. I mean, these charities do very important work, and they do need high-profile patrons to help them in that work and raise awareness and raise funds to get the job done. But if they're literally just obsessed with how it makes them look, they're not going to be of much help. It's very sad that he's fallen to this narcissistic kind of approach to life. I don't think it's how he was raised. I don't think it's what he was like as a young man. It seems to be something he's kind of taken on board or been formed in or trained in since marrying that Z-list celebrity, unfortunately.
Well, of course, and Father Calvin, it's all about her brand new magazine cover, Stateside, just released, Us Weekly, a special report. Can Meghan ever win over the world? No matter what Meghan does, even making jam, she's met with intense public scrutiny. Experts and friends weigh in on why the Duchess remains one of the world's most polarizing figures. Now, she has allowed her friend, her staff to speak to this article. They're trying to completely erase the public perception of what Meghan used to be. What do you sense is the feeling stateside? Because it feels to me, Father Calvin, like Americans have finally woken up to who she really is. I think it took them a while to catch up. They probably did think to begin with, oh, maybe the Brits were just a little bit harsh on her because she's an American. But actually now they're in exactly the same place as we are here.
But saying that, there was another big cover over the last couple of weeks. It was everywhere I looked. I think it was actually titled That Meghan Cover. I can't remember what magazine it was on now, but it was everywhere. So she's still getting a lot of attention out here, a lot of profile. But the response to the jam making was not positive. The most positive review I could find was it was shallow. And that pretty much encapsulates everything that Meghan Markle does at the moment. And it's about controlling her. I think that's why she'll in answer to the question, can she ever win over everyone? No, she can't, because she's obsessed with controlling that image, obsessed with what other people think of her, rather than the work that she's supposed to be doing. And so we see through that. Quite a lot of people see through that, and increasingly so in America, that people see that she's hungry for success and fame and fortune and celebrity and to be liked. I don't think that's an appropriate way to be liked, to be honest with you. She could be liked for the work that she does if she does good work, but she's not doing any work. It's all about reflecting her self-image. Who cares?
At some point, they're going to run out of people to blame. And when that happens, what's left? Just two people isolated, clinging onto a brand that no one trusts anymore. And honestly, it looks like we're getting very close to that point. This scandal isn't just about charity mismanagement. It's about a pattern of behavior that's finally catching up with them. Harry and Meghan built their whole new life on the idea that they were victims of a corrupt system. But now, they're the ones being exposed. At the end of the day, this is just the latest chapter in a very messy saga. But mark my words, this one could be the beginning of the end. Alright folks, that's it for today's reaction. If you enjoyed this breakdown, hit that like button, subscribe for more commentary, and drop a comment below. Do you think Harry and Meghan will ever take accountability? Or is this just the start of even bigger scandals? Let me know what you think.